On Bill 260 and 261, I'm both for that too. I'm so glad you're looking at a game management advisory commission and hope that the people that are put on that board will be the experienced hunters and fishermen practitioners that are included, because they are so knowledgeable on what's going on. The islands have changed. It's not like it was in the old days. The houses have encroached a lot of things. They've moved. They've had to develop new lifestyles. So, and the hunters know more than anybody. They're in there. They know what's going on. And I think if they could work together, I think it would be a really good thing on this island. And I think it would hopefully open it up to all the other islands doing the same thing, because this will be probably the first game management, I believe, in this state. And Bill 261, I think it's inhuman for animals to be eradicated from the air. When I heard about the cattle being shot, it saddened me, because we have people here that need food, and it's such a healthy, organic way. You know, the hunters bring home food that's don't have any chemicals in it, very healthy. And here we're allowing the state, I don't know why the state is so ignorant on things like that. You can't go shoot animals and leave it there. An animal that is killed with a shotgun has to be slit and bled on the spot. You don't eat meat that's been laying on the ground for a little bit. It is unhealthy. And I don't think there's any hunter in this room that would take home a piece of beef that he hasn't also bled. And that's, if the hunters are part of this, they know that. So they will set up rules so that this eradication can take place in a much more humane way, and hopefully provide food for maybe the homeless, or I don't know. To me, there could be a way of developing a food bank that would even provide more money so that it would be self-sustaining. And that's what I hope for. And thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for your testimony.
260, fully support this. Again, you know, this is relating to a Game Management Advisory Commission. Absolutely support this. I think it's completely necessary. Bottom line is this: DLNRs keep crying now about all the problems they have. They're trying to partner with the individual parties who are taking the public resources away in some instances, or they're getting their foot in the door. They're starting to work towards that. These are public resources that we're all responsible for maintaining. Unfortunately, the DLNR has been crying too long about no funding, no can do, no can do. They practically abdicated their responsibility in maintaining this state's natural resources. Now, I got no good things to say about DLNR. I think they're just negligent, and that's why this is so radically necessary now. It is time for the county to step up when the state is not fulfilling their lawful obligations and duties. The other thing I would like to bring up on Bill 261, I also am completely against shooting from helicopters. And I want to make this point here. This is one gentleman touched on the feral cat problem. You know, if you look in the state legislature, the Hawaii Revised Statutes, and you look up how people in this state can treat a mongoose, the state almost encourages you to torture them and kill them on sight. They almost encourage you to run them over and kill them any which way you can. The reason is because they're killing the native birds off, right? Feral cats do the same thing, but cannot touch the pussycats, you know? And now, I'm not advocating for aerial eradication of feral cats, but I am thinking that it's interesting if you just compare the issue. How many people you had here today? How many would you have if there was even a question of hunting feral cats because they decimate the native bird population from helicopters? You would have thousands of people lined up out the door, people weeping and sobbing and everything. I'm not particularly a cat person, but I think killing any animals from helicopter is inhumane. So enough said on that. I think that what's going on is our society is getting certain sicknesses in it that a gentleman spoke of earlier, and I'll leave his words with your memory so I don't screw them up. But when we start talking about unmanned drones launching missiles at people, and we talk about collateral damage of innocent young men, women, and children, and old people, you know, this is not the same thing, but it's the same sickness in a way. It's the same sickness, so I really don't like it. Fully support the hunters and the commission. Bill 2.
Now, going for the animals, this is the way they starve you out. They're here not for you or I. We don't hug. They don't hug us. They don't hug us. But they want our land for the military. They want our land for the tourists. And this ingredient comes with both. Greed. Greed. In 1970, I ate here at a famous restaurant right here on the corner. Oxtail is very, very delicious. Oxtail was $3 a bowl. Now it's $24 a bowl. Same place, same smell, same owner, but different price. County Council, you got a job on your hands. You stood up and you took the vote. Now step forward smartly and take the responsibility. Don't pass it on. Don't pass it on. This is why somebody passed it on to you. This came from 1970, 74, 78, 80s. And they just do the same thing over and over, over and over, over and over. Make your own thunder. Make your own thunder. You don't need somebody else's thunder. When Yamashiro was here, when God bless his soul, he's not here to defend himself, but he leave a good taste in my mouth. He left a lot of things undone, and it's still undone, and we're suffering for it. Today, the hunters, we can't go hunting, and they take, and I hope we see a film later on today on what the actual fencing does. I'd like to, if we have the time, to invite. I seen this film twice. It was in Kona on Friday, and it's not pretty. It's not pretty. So you could more or less see that somebody else is somebody else is holding the key to the door. You got to take that key back, Mr. Yago. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Uncle Sam. Thank you for your testimony. If I could call Vashti Campbell to speak on Bill 260 and 261. Good afternoon.
Hello, my name is Vashti Campbell. I'm from South Kona. I'm sorry I forgot to check the 256 for geothermal, so if I can tag that on at the end, I promise not to do a long thing.
Got it.
But I do want to say that I drove out here this morning with my son from Kona instead of testifying via video because I wanted my child to have the opportunity to see how this works, and I wanted to have the opportunity to make eye contact with every single one of you. I'm a little bit disappointed that I don't have the opportunity to make eye contact with every single one of the people that I was wishing to speak with. But I really appreciate those of you who are here and trying your best to stay focused and listen and make eye contact with us. Because my primary concern on all of these issues is that the people have a voice. That one human being is not valued over another simply because they were elected to represent a group of us. I personally, although not officially, I represent lots of people who couldn't come because they're working or they're sick or they didn't have the money to drive here. It took a lot of us working together just for me to drive out here to come and speak. On 260 and 261, which I'm in support of, again, my reason for supporting this is that the people have a voice. Our world has a terrible history of making decisions without taking into account the people. And I hear a lot of people asking for environmental impact studies for things. I think that's very important. But the other important thing is sociocultural impact. A long time ago, not to digress too much, but in the 90s, President Clinton made his resolution apologizing for all the damage caused to Hawaii in particular. Sometimes when government intervenes, we make mistakes. And then we intervene again and make another mistake. That can't be fixed by continuing to intervene when it's not on behalf of the people. And my question is whether or not a government that doesn't have the same knowledge base as the people or hold the same values as the people can be effective and instead of damaging. Because sometimes we cannot repair these damages. I don't think over the last 100 years that there's been a lot of reparation made. Please, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. These are very important decisions, even the tiniest bill. The people who are here, the people who live here, who were born here, who are in these forests, on these beaches, on this land, who know what they're talking about, need to be valued and have a voice in these decisions. Because sometimes when fences go up, they never come down. And that's lost forever. I don't think that the Hawaiian people have a history of wrecking this place. So I trust that a council like the Game Management Committee, made up of local people who care and love this land and know what the plants are doing and what the animals are doing, I trust that that will be an added benefit. And it's really necessary. And I did hear somebody mention that in addition to local people, that the DLNR needed to have a representative here on that committee and so on and so forth. The fact is that the DLNR has a voice already. Okay, and it's loud. And these people don't have a voice. So I don't see how it's necessary to add a DLNR representative to something that's supposed to be made up of local people. Because where is their voice? And shame on these people for not sitting up here. I would be very disappointed in my child if I raised him to have a position like this and he took a position like this for which he gets paid and he didn't show up because he doesn't want to listen to all this. I know it's very hard. It's tiring. I've been here all day too. I woke up at 4:30 in the morning to drive out here. And my 11-year-old boy is sitting here, and he sat here quietly all day listening, and he's not getting paid for that. And I didn't even have to threaten him. But he wants to come up here and say something. And I told him, if you want to speak and you want to say something, the most important thing for you to learn is to be able to listen to the other people talking. And we have a very hard time doing that. So that's my main thing in support of 260 and 261. And also on the geothermal issue, you know what, it's the same kind of thing. I would like to see human beings not treated as expendable in the trade of commodities. I do not believe this island is a commodity to be traded back and forth and disrespected repeatedly. When I was preparing to go to the meeting a couple of weeks ago, Senator Malama was having, and we went and asked some questions. I was reading the governor's New Day in Hawaii before I went, because I want to make sure that I'm doing the best I can to educate myself, right? Because the problem is also there's not a lot of people get to show up. They're not educated. And the information that we get from the media is skewed, and everybody knows that. I'm not naive enough to think that we can completely get away from like financial investments in our media, but it's very hard to properly educate yourself on the issues. So I'm reading this, and in A New Day in Hawaii, he says, we cannot continue to put money into marketing Hawaii without improving the product. Excuse me? It's in print. No one can even deny, like it's there. It's part of this document. The reason I was reading it was because watershed was supposed to be the issue of whatever. This is not a product. If it's a product, then like what's happening with the people that are not being treated properly, that are getting sick? I think the whole view is skewed, is upside down, and everybody has a responsibility. And none of us are new. You guys all know I'm not making any of this stuff up. I appreciate you guys listening and making direct eye contact with me while I'm talking to you, and I hope that you guys give this serious consideration, and I also hope that you can talk to the people that are not here. And they need to be held accountable as well. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. If I could ask Ayana Silva to come forward to the table. Our next speaker is going to be Isaac Williams to speak on Bill 260 and 261. Good afternoon.
Hello, County Council members and Hawaii Island. My name is Isaac Williams, and I am a hunter and gatherer. I have 2 children, and we use the ocean and the mountains to eat every chance we get. And if you guys take your helicopters and gun everything down, there's nothing to eat. And the animals is gone, and then what I gotta do after that? So I ask for your guys' support against aerial eradication. And then on 260, the Game Management Advisory Commission, I do believe that at this point we don't have a voice, as a hunter and gatherer. The DLNR, they get their own ideas, and that's what they go by. And I think that'd be a good thing, is for us to have a voice, be able to have some input. That's it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your testimony, sir. Let's see.
Hello, my name is Lonnie Ka'apala. I support Bill 260 and 261. Ha in Hawaiian means breath. A'ole means no. And it seems to me that the people representing the DLNR and the NARS are in that category. They have no breath. Their words hold no positive future for the local people. I oppose the eradication of animals by aerial shooting. It is a waste of food source that many hunters here on the island of Hawaii depend on. The wild game supplies food on many local family tables, helps with the financial crisis we are in. Many of the hunters make wonderful sausage and smoked meat, dried fish, poke, and other sellable items. Secondly, it is a cruel slaughter that is heinous, an atrocity of God's creation. Animals are maimed and left to suffer and die. How can the DLNR justify this? Young offspring left with no mother to nurse die of dehydration and starvation. How does the DLNR justify this? Thirdly, has the DLNR thought about the undesirable vermins it is feeding with the decaying carcass they leave behind? The rats, the mongoose, the bugs, and other gross things survive and grow strong in number with such a banquet. This is a detriment to the native birds. Humans were given a brain, but perhaps they miss the DLNR. How about we shoot the evasive people without ha from the helicopter? Apau.
Thank you for your testimony. The next testifier is Nani Paglini.
Hi.
Hi. To speak on 260, 61, 256, and 257. Good
Right.
afternoon.
I support 256. Yeah, I agree with the lady earlier. There's not enough cookies in the jar. I really support community development, but the geothermal project is really large, and we're in an energy-hungry world. There's giant sharks moving in. We better pay attention. And so we need funds to watch out for that situation. And should we have an emergency plan? Yeah, big time. And I strongly support, that was 257, I support 260. I support the hunters, gatherers, fishermen having home rule. Yes, home rule, all right. Yes, it's about time we have some home rule, and I don't think that committee should be made up of Nature Conservancy biologists, hunters, or DLNR members, or Nature Conservancy, or NARS, or TMA, or NP, because those people are all been heavily funded with all kinds of grants and federal money. This committee, they're volunteers. So let's keep it at a fair play field. And it should just be the local people, the local hunters, the generational people of Hawaii who have the wisdom, who know the land. And I support 261, ban aerial shooting, because here's the thing. We all may be hunters someday. Yeah, and we need that resource. If there's a shipping line shut down, you're going to be banging on the doors of the hunters. Yeah, so let's remember the resource. How about management? Management is a great word, not eradication. Thank you very much. And thank you, Dominic Yugong. You got my vote.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next testimony.
Hi. Thanks, guys. Thanks for taking your time to listen to me. Yeah? Is it on?
Yeah.
Okay. A little bit closer? Okay. Thanks, guys, for taking your time to listen to me. I brought a little evidence that I dropped off in the beginning. Did you folks happen to get a look at that? That was the West Hawaii paper talking about invasive plants traveling on the Rangers' tires. Okay. Okay. Now, going to the eradication. As a hunter, we only take what we need. You're not going to go and slaughter thousands of animals. That's just not right. And, you know, I'm hearing what people are talking about today. You know, the animals are doing this, the animals are doing that. You know, by evidence, you're looking at the tires. The dirt in the tires are taking the invasive plants up to the mountain. The pig, the goat, the sheep, the cow, they don't fly to outer islands. They don't fly to the mainland. They have no way of bringing that invasive plants here. So they're only eating and giving out what is being brought there to them. So you can't blame the animal for that. And the animals are tied into the land. The animals are all the way back in culture. You have the pig that came with the Hawaiians. You got the sheep, the goat, the cattle that came in the 1700s. You have the deer in 1860s that was given to the king of Hawaii at that time, Kamehameha V in Molokai in the 1860s. What we're looking for when I jump over to the advisory, the game advisory, is animals have to be not invasive. That word, we need to get rid of that word, invasive. They're not invasive animals. You know, we have invasive plants, but the animals are tied here into the people and into the culture just as much as we are. And by getting rid of them, it's absurd. And not to have a game management plan with a carrying capacity. We don't have game management in place like you'd have a rancher. You know how many cattle can be on 1 acre, 2 acres. With the animals in the forest, there's no game management plan. There's no carrying capacity for the animal. This, by having the advisory council, we could hopefully have that implemented and have that put in there. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for your testimony. If I could ask.